Isn't it really neat how things mesh and gel and coincide together when you don't even plan it? So 2 weeks ago, I was able to preach on worship, and we looked at the story of Mary, the sister of Martha, the sister of Lazarus, who were in this town called Bethany. And then last Sunday, Dave preached on the same ladies, Mary and Martha, the story where Martha served and Mary sat at the feet of Jesus. And just like both of these stories point us back to what is the main topic here and what we always should remember and what was important then and is important now is sitting at the feet of Jesus, and how Mary chose the good portion, which was sitting at the feet of Jesus. But a neat thing about this is we pick up on this story kind of in the middle, but we don't really know what took place prior. The first instance here is in Luke chapter 10, where Dave preached from. Luke chapter 10, 38 through 42. And we don't know if they already knew Jesus personally or if they just heard about him. I'm leaning towards that they knew him and they knew who he was, because they brought him into, we don't really know where, but they brought him into this home where it was their home maybe. It probably was their home because Martha was cleaning and she was serving. And when you look at the verses in that passage, one of the key words is Martha was distracted with serving. It's not bad to serve, but she was distracted with it. And I don't even think she was mad that she was having to serve. I think what made her angry or upset was that Mary wasn't serving, that she was just sitting there. But it says that she was distracted with it. And then you fast forward to their brother Lazarus, and he died, and we know the story. You know the story. Jesus came. He was late. They thought he was late, and Jesus ended up raising Lazarus from the dead. And because of that, they wanted to host Jesus. They wanted to honor him for what he had done. This other gentleman named Simon, who had had leprosy prior to all of this, Jesus healed him, and they let them use his house, his home. And so Mary and Martha are going to host this big dinner for Jesus. And this is where we pick up where Mary comes in and she anoints Jesus. She pours all this oil and this perfume on Jesus out of an act of worship because of who he is, what he had done. And the interesting thing in this is when you look at the passage in John chapter 12, it talks about Mary and Martha. And an interesting thing is it says that in verse 2, Martha served. So here we go again, back to Luke chapter, whatever chapter that was, Luke chapter 10, I think. Martha was serving. She was upset about it. But you fast forward to this, here she is serving again. I wonder if Martha had realized where she had failed, that it wasn't bad to serve, but she was elevating that above what's most important. And what's most important is our daily walk, our daily fellowship, our daily communion, our spending time, our intimate time with Jesus, sitting at his feet, letting him teach us, letting his words soak into our hearts, letting it penetrate our very soul, our very core, and then letting that flow out. And that is what should be our driving force in our life. Is everything that we do, everything that drives us, everything that flows out of us should flow from our spending time with Jesus and being at his feet. And I wonder if that's what changed with Martha. It doesn't say that she was upset. It doesn't even say she was distracted. It just simply says that she served. And I wonder if between the story in Luke and then the story here where they were hosting Jesus because him raising Lazarus from the dead, I wonder what changed in her life and what Jesus had told her back prior to when she was upset because she was distracted with serving. I really wonder if what happened was she began spending time listening to Jesus. We don't see it, we don't hear about it, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. And allow that to drive her, allow that to flow out of her into her service. And that is for you and I. In this day, in this life, whether you're serving in the church, whatever you're doing, your work, your family, everything has to flow from that. Everything has to flow from our spending time with Jesus and at his feet. And when that happens, not only will we have chosen the good portion, but it will change our life. and it will change those who we come in contact with, because it won't be you and I that's impacting or influencing others. It'll be Jesus and our spending time with Him flowing out of us. So maybe that'll encourage and challenge each of us as we think about that, as we think about sitting at the feet of Jesus and allowing that flow out of everything and into everything that we do.